Hi. So, as I was thinking today, contemplating on what makes Nirbij Yoga uniquely valuable and how come I'm standing so perpendicular, so much in contrast with my world and what I see everybody else is doing. I thought it was Hatha Yoga, but it is too. In the sense that basically it's about violence, a deviation from wholesome to time and space, to this and that, object, subject. But what made it so demarcated, so much obvious, is because after having the vaccination, before having the vaccination, during the vaccination, after the vaccination, I have been practicing Nirbij Yoga. And the vaccination, just like corona, just like bacteria or fungi or yeast or any other microorganism, when they affect our system, their genetic material affects our genetic material by the fact of we are all part of the same organism, that is life on earth. And then it is about, is the genetic material affecting us beneficially or is it harming us? And that maintains the health of the body, a health of our ability to be and how we become. So when our immune system is formed from a defense-offense mechanism, then we are maintaining a certain, let's say it's part of the drama triad, victim, perpetrator, rescuer. So when the immune system is based on victim, perpetrator, rescuer, it continues to maintain a certain ridge. I would call it as a cookie crusting. Yeah, it's like it's doing something over and over until it forms a certain, this is how it's done, and hence maybe nerve sheets or beliefs that is precipitated from this is how life is lived and this is how we survive. We learn to survive by how our immune system is continuing to maintain the defense-offense mechanism. And what I'm doing through Nirbij Yoga is maintaining non-violence, which is the winner's triad based, which is vulnerability, caring, and non-violence. And consequently, assertion, as in the voicing that comes from that. So in the practice of Nirbij Yoga, it is basically silence, stillness, and nothing, which is the foundation for it. So, assertion is a voicing from the basis of silence, stillness, nothing. So that is what I'm practicing, and hence my immune system is not based on the triad, is not based on the drama triad, but is based on the winner's triad. And hence I'm able to de-traumatize violence that is happening to my system from, say, the bacteria, yeast, or any of the microorganisms which may be harming my system. And hence I'm maintaining the flora of my body and consequently maintaining being non-violent. And from this perspective, it is easier for me to observe violence and the different manifestations of violence and how that affects the system. Now, over time, this has become so obvious to me because with the corona as a variant, everywhere there is one way or the other, well, there may be people around there, or there are surfaces I'm touching, and I'm using a sanitizer when I'm using a sanitizer, because I'm not like washing my hand like wherever I go. There's not the sanitizer cleaning my hand. And say when I'm adjusting my mask, there is no saying that okay. So there are things that I'm doing. There are safety precautions that I'm maintaining. For example, when I'm adjusting my mask, I'm paying attention to that my hand is not going anywhere close to my nose, and I'm also not pulling my mask down where if from the wind or from something, through some effect, or inadvertently touching some surface and then doing this, and then I pull my mask down. So I'm not pulling my mask down. So one way or the other I may be being affected, but I'm continually doing Nirbij Yoga. So I consider even corona to be a teacher in the sense that I took the vaccination. One, because my parents said if you don't have a vaccination certificate, you cannot travel across borders. So I took the vaccination, and then I was thinking, it also becomes part of my research work, in the sense that I am voluntarily choosing to inject the virus, which is also causing, the concern, health concern that we have, and I'm taking an attenuated version of it. So it becomes research material. So it's like Corona is like my teacher on telling me what is happening and what is not, because I have the perspective of Nirbij Yoga. I have the perspective of non-violence, and hence can listen to life. So Corona is also a droplet of life. So I can listen to what is happening to my physiology when I have chosen to get an injection into my body of the virus. So I've been studying my physiology and practicing Nirbij Yoga. So I was noticing, what is Corona saying? So one of the things I did learn is this is about violence. Yeah. So it became so distinct to me that the pandemic is not about Corona, but it's about violence. And hence I've been studying violence more acutely in terms of micro organisms, in terms of microscopic details, on how our everyday life is given by, and our economy is also in some way affected by, practices that come from, when majority is doing this, including the minorities are also affected by something. What is the best way by which people can manage how things are, so that everybody are reasonably taken care of to the extent that is possible at this moment? So the economy is from what has been possible. And then I'm able to study this. So my being able to study this came from so many years of people studying different ways by which to maintain life, different ways by which to keep things healthy, to keep life moving, to keep the human beings as human beings. And then there are certain things which have not been able to be seen or not been able to be addressed. So I come in a generation where there are different levels of inquiry that also gave rise to the internet, that also gave rise to so many technologies, and then I am able to now look at what is missing, the presence of which would make a difference. Then, as I'm noticing this, perhaps, and mostly because I've been doing Nirbij Yoga, I've been noticing how the different effects in the environment, health concerns, including Corona effect, is affecting my system, and hence I have a composition of my immunity which is different from the composition of immunity that other people are able to maintain. How do I know that? Is sometimes when I'm doing the live, I do lives on Facebook, and then when I'm also visiting different people, they're like, when did you take your vaccination? When was how much difference was there between one dose and the other? I have been continuously doing Nirbij Yoga. So perhaps people have been noticing a certain composition, a certain state of mind, or how people are who have gotten the vaccination or are in different stages of, I don't know, something is being noticed. Because also maybe in some way my state of conscience is maintaining what it is to be a normal, ordinary human being. So while there are different effects, brain waves, from how people think and what is there from region to region, country to country, culture to culture, state to state, I am maintaining the consciousness of being a normal, ordinary human being, and I'm practicing that continuously. So when I'm doing that, people who have been, so I think there is certain layering of consciousness too, brain waves that are doing the rounds, in how to be human, what is what is normally done, and how is everybody. So our state of belongingness is also based on what is the kind of brain waves we have. So waves that we have. So in terms of particle and wave, that's also science. In terms of matter and energy, that's also science. But time and space, that's also science. That these are also different aspects by which things are appreciated. And consequently, from them arose the masculine, feminine, object, subject, visible, invisible, known, unknown, the dualities. And Hatha Yoga is also a manifestation, an acknowledgement of this duality of the self. Now, why am I mentioning this? When I am practicing Nirbij Yoga and I'm maintaining what it takes to be normal, ordinary human being, and my inquiry is in being human, and what that means is being humane. So organic, non-violent, humane intelligence is what my inquiry is. So my thought waves, my ways of doing things, and what I'm talking about on social media and different things is maintaining what it is to be normal, ordinary human being, a humane being. So that has its effect in our consciousness too, in our conscience, in the ocean of consciousness that we say that we are all part of. Yeah, we are all in one way or the other affected by this. So when I'm interacting with people and they notice, perhaps it's a certain awareness, and then they notice how they are or how they have seen other people to be when they are vaccinated or are in different states of health, is different from how I am. Because I'm practicing Nirbij Yoga, it's an in-the-moment practice. And our different methods of healthcare is more time-based. You're like half an hour of gym time, or some people do 1 hour, 2 or 3 hour, yeah, or so much time for meditation, or so much time in which breath work is practiced, for example, or during this time, so regularly we go to the doctor, and this is how we maintain health. And I am doing this 24/7 in the moment as I'm going about. While I may be even eating and practicing Nirbij Yoga, or I may be brushing and still be practicing Nirbij Yoga. So it's like I'm cleaning my brush while I'm eating, or or I'm bathing while I'm in a meeting. So what does so it's like the cleaning is happening during the moments of living, so that I am maintaining my non-violent, healthy composition. So that if there, this is how in Meristem Intelligence perspective, how we go out of how we go offline. In the sense, online is being on the path of doing the right thing, doing what we come into existence for, so that a profession is not something that is limited to, say, 8 hours or 9 hours, but a profession is what you can do 24/7. So this is what I do. So this is, I'm also the proprietor for my enterprise. So that also makes it, so it's not just serendipity that I was required to when applying for a bank account. I was required to open up register my company, because we needed a government form to submit to the bank. So if you call this a serendipity, then that's like mighty serendipity, because I was required, because what was the option that was available to me was to register as a proprietor. And proprietorship means the person is not separate from their enterprise. So I'm a 24/7 professional, and serendipitously everything just came together so that I had to do this. And proprietorship is a word which is now, so what which is part of my identity, because so what I'm saying is efficiency, effectiveness naturally comes about, and serendipity to such an extent that you're doing the work, you keep doing the right things, and the right things keeps happening to you, and of such magnitude that this is my life, this is how I live, this is the ordinary normal way of living, this is a normal ordinary way of being human, becoming better, becoming wholesomer, which is also what I call as Sanatana Dharma. And I think Sanatana Dharma, as I read in the Upanishads, is what is being said. And it also says, when many facets come together, where in my idea, for example, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, or even say the teleseries, this paradigm of thinking that gives rise to the teleseries Ashes of Love, they're all happening inside one person. And there are different facets, different states of being, different emotional states, different behaviors, which comes from being one state. For example, a Karna or an Arjuna, or a Krishna. There are some things which is available only from there. But then if you get stuck in that, you don't have the experience of being human from the entire Ramayana, Mahabharata, rashes of love happening inside one person, such that we are not really coming together to the next stage, which is being a humane being. We are not really part of evolving life for the better, because we do not appreciate these different states, different behavior mannerisms, different dynamics that gives rise to and also maintains our experiences of living the way it is, which is given by the Yuga Chakra. It's said to go round and round and round, but in Meristem Intelligence perspective, it's not going round and round, it is going spiral forward. And when that is not able to be seen, we sort of get it and we think it's just going in round and round the same place. That's when we get into the vicious cycle. Like, there is no liberation from this, So we are looking for nirvana, but not quite understanding what that is. And sukha and dukkha cycles, and it's sort of like, I'm kind of stuck in this, and the idea of the hamster and a wheel, and all of that comes from that idea of the vicious cycle. So, coming back to why I began this video, in practicing Nirbij Yoga, in practicing living life from the paradigm that maintains Nirbij Yoga, I'm also inadvertently maintaining being human, while Corona came as, in my perspective, the way I can see it, is a wild form of the common cold, and the common cold itself has had to be addressed with pills or with many other things by which to address the common cold. And while that, I've even read somewhere that that an organization was operative for about 50 years, inquiring into why there was the common cold, and they couldn't find it, and then they had to shut it down, is what I read. But I think since that itself, common cold itself, had to be addressed with pills, which is again a deviation from using things. So from there, what was not addressed became different manifestations of violence. So much so that we have corona as a wild form of the same coronavirus that is also associated with the common cold. So what I am inadvertently maintaining seems to be being human, while there are different strains of microorganisms affecting our epigenetics, which is bacteria, virus, what is there, part of the organism that is life, affecting our own body, for which we are taking different remedial ways by which to maintain being healthy. So when we are not aware of how they are affecting and how they are changing us in one way or the other, from the baseline of healthy to something that is a certain higher level, so to speak, in crustiness. I call it as cookie crustiness. I've tended to use the word patuti, like cookie crusted bumps. So we need to keep decrusting it so that we are maintaining being normal, ordinary human. So I'm noticing this normal, ordinary human, and then I'm noticing a lot of patutis and ways of behavior from these different levels of cookie crustedness, patutiness. Then it becomes very obvious. It's like stark contrast between what I'm noticing of life and the different affects, behavior, ecology, our relatedness, and how we are doing things from this perspective. And hence, Nirbij Yoga versus Hatha Yoga becomes so distinctly obvious. And then I'm noticing different kinds of economies, different kinds of professions doing their things. And then I'm noticing, what are we doing here? So the difference between a violence-based economy inadvertently has come about versus a non-violence-based economy is so obvious. And that is why I have had to invent connect.marketing, to be able to point out those dots in how we have dashed things. Like this is connected with this is connected with this is how we form relationships, and hence arrived at our ecology, our economics, because cause and effect. This is the cause and this is the effect, and hence we've taken it as given that this is a cause and effect, and then we've built things upon that. So our economics, our current economics, may be based on these kinds of cause and effect, and hence given that. And I'm seeing different. So I am noticing, by connected marketing, I'm noticing the dots which may not be obvious in the dashes we already have. And then I am also helping in dashing these now discerned dots in newer ways, so that we can have a more healthier economy. So which is what Meristem Intelligence as an enterprise is working on, research and development, and also speaking from the social media posts are coming from there. And then over time there has been improvement in what is being said, because I'm continuously working on this. So what was discerned, say maybe a few years back, Meristem Intelligence composed as an enterprise in 2015, but I was already inquiring into what is missing, the presence of which will make a difference in being human, in being alive, in being healthy, since 2006, 2004, since there, about there. So my inquiry has been on since then. And since then, we have, since 2015, there has been more deliberate work on inquiring into different ways. So we have a system by which to discern by how to dot the dashes and dash the dots, and come to a more stabler, non-violence based, healthifying, wholesomizing economy, by which we can maintain being healthy, wealthy, wise, in a way that also supports evolution of life, evolution of a human being, and what it means for all that there is in investing in this enterprise, in this organism, in the evolution of life itself, such from where a human being evolved, standing on 2 feet, from wheresoever, howsoever, including microorganism states, from where life began, the becoming better, becoming a profitable enterprise to all that there is, why life was created. So this is how we support, as a micro, we support the macro, in a way that the macro also supports the micro, such that we are informing and being informed, and forming wholesomer systems, wholesomer ways of being and living, economy. So I hope this brings some more clarity and perspective on what's the paradigms and what is the benefit that is available from participating and investing in Meristem Intelligence. Thank you for listening.